So before we get started today, I just wanted to quickly introduce myself to those of you I haven't met yet. My name is Nikki Wells, and I'm from Redmayne Technology. I work with Harley often, as I do with many of you, speaking on the phone, through email, but it's an absolute pleasure to actually get to meet people face to face. I think we all understand the benefit of face to face, but it isn't until you've been separated from real people for so long that you actually realize and get that appreciation. So it's a pleasure to meet all of you. So today we're going to be talking about mobility and practice, MCASE Mobile in particular. I'm going to be speaking at the end just about some of the features, answering any questions that you have, but really the spotlight today is on Harley and Touchwood Child and Family Services. And so with that, I'm going to hand it over to Harley.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. Thank you for being here. Just like my friend here, this is the first time I've been in a room with a lot of people in a long time, so it was kind of intimidating at first. But here we are. We are in the middle of a pandemic, but we're adapting, we're overcoming, and we're still carrying on with our lives. We're not painting ourselves into a corner with protocols anymore. So, just a brief history. I learned a lot yesterday from the speakers we had. There was a lot of really good speakers. That freaking Cadmus, is he not an awesome speaker? You know? He's so wise beyond his years. He's articulate, and he's funny, and he's poignant, but he did make a good point. Start off, show your heart before you show your, what? I wrote it down. Show your heart before you show your something. But
show them your heart before you ask for their hand.
There we are. So, in that spirit, I will just give you a brief idea who Harley Gilman is, what I'm about, where I am. I am just like you. I grew up status only when I turned 16, when my mom got her status back. She lost it because she married a white army guy. So I'm half Indian, half white, half Cree from Gordon's First Nation. I am status. My daughter is the last one to get status on my bloodline unless she marries a native herself. And that is all our colonial overlords letting us know who we are and what we will be. And I don't agree with it. As long as you're native, you're native. The blood doesn't change. The blood's there. It's going to go on forever. And we're resilient people. Look at how much they tried to do to us, and we're still here. I have been very fortunate being the love child of an army brat and an educated Indian woman who was a medical technician. I grew up in a very nurturing, loving household. I never had any exposure to domestic violence, alcoholism, none of that. I grew up a very sheltered, very loved life. I didn't know about residential school trauma and stuff, and I didn't even believe in it at first. How can it affect me? Well, it did, because my mom never went to residential school. Her mom did. Our reserve, George Gordon First Nation, was one of the last, or the last, to have an operating residential school on it. I used to play around there when I was a kid. We used to hear the name Star, and we'd run and hide. No clue who it was, but it was the biggest pedophile in Canada at one time. He abused many, many of our people. So I grew up not knowing what it was, but being afraid of it. And then I talked to myself. I have to acknowledge somebody here today. I have a mentor, a supervisor, a leader who has carried me and showed me, Ingrid Anderson over here. She has made me the child protection person I am because she's very wise, very patient, very knowledgeable. I was telling her things. My mom used to clean the house and keep it spotless, almost like a, what the hell? That's you already? That's Yeah, that's me back in the day. So moving along, no residential school trauma, but I did see it in my life through my mom, through my grandma. So I joined the Army when I was 20 years old. I didn't want to leave home, so my dad put me on a bus and sent me to Fredericton, or St. John, and then across on the ferry to Digby, Nova Scotia, where I learned how to be an Army guy, where I also learned how to drink and shoot guns, okay? I did that for 6 years. Then I joined the RCMP in 1995. 1995, and everybody told me, you'll never get in, you're not French. So, well, I'm half Indian. Doesn't matter, you have to speak French. I went into a troop and everybody to this day thinks, oh, you got it the easy way in, you're Indian, they put you in a special troop, you got the green light. No, I went through a troop of 36 white guys, myself and one other guy were the natives in the troop. We had to fight and work twice as hard to prove that we were half as good. And that's systemic racism, it's still there. I went through a lot of trauma in the RCMP. It turned me into a hardcore alcoholic, which I'm 17 years clean of right now, thank you. But the experiences I learned there, I really apply to today. When people say they've got trauma, I know what it means. I don't talk about this often, but I'll just briefly touch on it. I have been involved in shootings, a couple of shootings when I was a cop in BC. They really affected me. I didn't know how to deal with it, so I did what every cop does. I just pretended to be tough. 6'3", 280 pounds, but inside I'm a little kid, and I'm soft, and things bother me, and things hurt me. Those experiences with my tutelage of my mentor have taught me social work is just like police work. And that's, I think, why I've done well at it. Not because I wanted to show off to anybody, because it's just my thing. I love it. You can arrest a bad guy on Friday night and see him in court or see him on the street Monday. What the hell did you waste your time for? I was telling Ingrid, I've told you, I can apprehend kids. I do it, I don't like it, but I have to. Sometimes, like, it's the last thing I want to do. Unfortunately, sometimes it's the first thing I have to do. But there's nothing better than having little kids climbing all over me, showing me pictures, drawing me pictures, giving me toys while I'm apprehending them. And it's all in how I learned through years to present myself. I can come across as a big, intimidating guy. I've been told that. I don't feel that. I don't see that. But I'm a guy. I can talk to anybody. I can be your friend. I can be your savior. I could also give you the licking you deserve if you need it. And I have had to do that. But as a child protection worker, I'm in my element. I love it. I absolutely love it. There's so much job satisfaction in this line of work. Helping families, doing things. There we go. See what social work does to you? That's 100 pounds heavier than the previous picture. Isn't that crazy? But I digress. We want to talk about the mobility. What I bring to Touchwood is my experience as a police investigator. I have done some really intense investigations, put people in prison, federal prison, for many years for murder, sexual assaults, domestic violence, horrible domestic violence, stuff like that. So I bring those experiences and documentation, accountability, and record keeping with me. And I've implemented them into our program with Touchwood. Ingrid has let me just do my thing and it works. I report to her, I go to her for advice, I bounce things off of her, and our program works. That's my good side. So, the thing, when I was a cop, I used to work in my vehicle, typing my files. Everything was in my vehicle with my computer, typing away, doing my thing. I used to work with this guy's cousin. Dean, is he your cousin?
Yeah.
Brother-in-law, whatever?
Yeah.
So that's where him and I know each other kind of, is through another training course several years ago. But I worked in my vehicle and I learned that being on the road as a protection worker is where you need to be. The office is an anchor. This mobility app that Redmayne puts out through MCASE is my savior. It gets me back on the road and out of the office. Ingrid will tell you, my office is a little desk in a corner of our kitchen at our office. I'm hardly there. I don't need a desk. I don't even need to print anymore. If I do an apprehension, I'll take a picture of it with my phone and I'll send it to our supervisor. I have two good supervisors. I don't know where Karen is. We have two really strong supervisors that I work with too, Roxanne and Karen. I send it to them, they have it instantly, okay? That's through this mobile app. How? What I'll do is in the morning, and we're discussing and I'm learning more about this app because I'm just a user. I will come into the office, and my thing is, as I keep referring to my previous life as a cop, but when I was a cop, I'd go into the office, do all my admin paperwork and stuff like that, and then hit the road and go play. And go play means catch bad guys, and I love that. What I do here is I go into the office in the morning, I go through everything I need to get done, I send my emails out. Okay, I got a new intake I got to open. I open up my intake on the desktop version. I'll start a contact note on the desktop version, and I'll open and start a safety assessment on the desktop version. Then I'll go on the road, I'll meet with my family, and I'll do my investigation, my questions, and all that stuff that you do. And while I'm talking, it looks like I'm texting, but I'm contact notes. And they'll ask me, who are you texting? No, I'm sorry. I'm just entering my stuff into my computer. What I do here, I put into a report. This report goes to my office, my boss sees it, okay? Oh, that's really cool. I said, well, yeah, hello. So I do my files, bits and pieces with them, because then I'm not writing, as a former cop, you write everything down, you keep notes. I could tell you what I ate for lunch in 1992, okay? Seriously, because I have a notebook at home from that far back. I'll do all that stuff on the road. While I'm on the road, it's automatically syncing to the server, to the cloud. Am I right?
Yes.
Sure. Yeah, you know. So, if anybody uses the mobility version, keep at it. It's getting better and better and better. There was just an update released 2 days ago. Yesterday? 2 days ago? And it's getting faster. Every time you use it, it's faster, it's faster. There's no more of the slow lags and downloading. It's all there. You punch in a name, bang, it pops up. But it's all like, if anybody is ancient, like us, when we first started using computers, they said garbage in, garbage out. It's only, the information you have is only as good as what you put into it. So if you take your time through the mobile app, okay, what's your name? What's your middle name? Date of birth. Who's your mother? Save. Done. It's in there. You're not writing it down, going to the office. Oh, where did I put those notes? Another example of why this mobile app is so helpful, and I'm not endorsed or paid. I didn't even give a friggin' coffee mug from you guys. I'm not endorsed by these guys, but it makes my life easier. I hate being in the office. Ingrid will tell you that. If Harley's not in the office, he's probably sitting out front in his car doing and typing, because I don't like being in an office. It's just not my thing. This mobile app has gotten me on the road. It's gotten me into the communities. And our caseworkers, we don't have them using it as much. We have our supervisors using the office versions in their offices. Caseworkers should be on the road. You know, and what are we tied down to? We're tied down to our bloody computers to update stuff. Why? So our supervisors can satisfy our management, who can satisfy our funders, that we're actually doing what they're paying us to do. And if we have our mobile apps running, you're ahead of the game. And I'll give you another example of when I was in my former life, when I was 940 pounds lighter. I was involved in a traffic collision in Mission, BC when I was a cop out in BC. And that was in 1990 something, okay? 18 years, almost to the day later, I was called to court in Supreme Court in BC. I had no clue about this thing. I had bits and pieces of memory of what it was. It was my notes that I made at that time that made me not look stupid in court. I recalled, oh, this is what I did. Are these your notes? Well, yeah, it's my notes. If you do your notes like I do through the mobile app while you're on the road, they are fresh, they're clean, and they're true. Your talk this morning, I could tell you what you talked about and the funny things that Emerson said. Ask me in 2 weeks from now what you talked about, and I'll give you a smaller version. Ask me in 3 months from now, and it's even smaller. And how many of our staff go and say, yeah, I did my contacts, I did my face-to-faces. Where's your contact notes? I'll do them. A week later, where's your contact notes? I'll do them. 2 weeks later, I'll do them. And as the time goes by, those contact notes and those case notes get smaller and smaller. And you're losing valid, important information. Stuff that you need to know. As child protection workers, as agencies that have the licensing and that we take kids into care, we're their parents. My mom still calls me baby, and I'm almost 52. She still has a book with little black curly hair in it from my first haircut. How many of our kids that we are their parents legally can say that their parents know exactly every little funny, cute little thing about them? Because we're so caught up in administrative work, we lose valid information, so we only put what the supervisors want to see, just so we can say we did the contact standard. So I guess in a nutshell, things that, it allows you more time to be on the road with your clients. How can you be an effective social worker or a caseworker or a family finders or foster care worker if you're not on the road? You have to be engaged. COVID, okay, it's here, but it's going away. We're adapting. It's going to get to the point where COVID's no longer an excuse not to do your job. Captures important information timelessly. I already captured that, right? True version of details. What else did you want to talk about? Where? Oh, yeah, where? Where do I use it? I use it in people's driveways, in people's living rooms, on the side of the road, wherever I can steal or mooch a Wi-Fi signal. Like I said to Ingrid, will tell you this is true. I will go to different offices. I don't even go in. They think, what the hell's he doing? I'm mooching off your Wi-Fi. And I do that all the time. It keeps me on the road, it keeps me visible. I've even had stuff done in clients' driveway is a good point, because I'm sitting there, tuk, tuk, tuk. Do you need a lift or are you broke down? No, it's okay. I'm still here because I'm doing my paperwork, what we just talked about. And how many of us have been in hospitals with kids and waited for hours and hours and hours? You can get so much paperwork done sitting there waiting. Paperwork in the electronic version. What else we have? Because we're running out of time.
Why not?
Oh, well. Yeah, when I've used it in front of clients, they were really impressed with it. They thought that's really cool. You can capture signatures when you have safety plans. You can send, I just learned this, you can send a safety plan to your supervisor. Do they agree with it? Yes, and have it back. Okay, can you just initial here? And they touch your phone, X, HD, whatever. Photographs, when you're doing, I love taking photographs of my clients or kids and putting them on, because it's only our information. It's not going out to the world what this kid looks like. So when I send my file to Ingrid will open up, oh, who's so-and-so? Oh, that was a cute little kid, you know? Or you get some kids that don't want to get up from their video games, so I got pictures of them like this laying on the couch, you know? But it's there. It makes the job so much easier, and it's 2021, it should have been here a long time ago, because when I was a cop, we had stuff like this in the 90s. So Redmayne is catching up. Redmayne made this. I'm a big advocate of it because I've been using it since we started over 2 years ago. And I love it. And I'm so invested in it, I can't turn back. I've got so much of my information in there that I don't want to try something different. I don't want to go with a different program. I want to stay with this one, because it took me a long time to build this database up. Now I'm at the point where when I want to punch in you, right there, Lloyd, there you are. I don't have to start fresh. It's already there. Bang, adds to my file. You know, it's all there. It just takes time. The mobility keeps your staff on the road, and there's accountability things in that mobility app that your supervisor can check on, just to see. Because how many of you, if you're a supervisor or a worker, I'm not asking for a show of hands, I went and talked to so-and-so. You talked to the client a week later. Hey, how was your visit with them? What? They never came to my house. Your supervisor can double check and make sure that you're doing it if there's issues. I'm not saying all supervisors are like the overlord watching, but if you have staff that are saying they're doing something and they're not, you can check. You know? And I'll go one step beyond what we're not even going to talk about here. You can't sabotage MCASE. We had a person that we had, for various reasons, had to sever our relationship with them, and we sent them out the door. On their way out, we deleted everything they had in the system on Redmayne. Within 20 minutes, half an hour, Redmayne had it back online. You can't destroy it, it's not gone forever. So it's there, yeah. It's protecting us, it's making our jobs easier, and it's collecting information that is ours. It's not public, and it's not theirs, it's ours. And it's stored in a server here in Canada, in the cloud. And I think that's it.
Thank you. I'm going to bore you with some of the IT nerdy cool stuff that we can do. So MCase Mobile is very adaptive, so it can be used on any type of mobile device. So that's tablets or smartphones or Chromebooks, across all operating systems, so Android, Windows, all of that. A couple of things that Harley didn't mention is, and if you ever see him sitting in your driveway, mooching off your Wi-Fi, you can just gently remind him that MCase Mobile actually works offline. You don't have to have internet access. And so essentially what you do is you bring all your files that you're interested in, so you have the ability to choose the files that you want to bring down to your device. You don't have to bring the entire database down to your device. And as soon as that's on your mobile device, then you can head off to your appointments or to your the hospital to see the kids, and you're not dependent on there being Wi-Fi. So if you're in an area that doesn't have very good cell service and your connection is dropping or coming up, you can still add your records, you can still take your photographs, you can still save everything, and then the second that your device connects to a network again, it will just bring that data straight to the cloud. It's available on the PC and it's almost instantaneous. So no more mooching. A couple of other things that some of our clients have told us that they love about MCase is it has speech-to-text capabilities. So even though Harley says he's busy typing in front of clients, you can also be dictating, and it's taking those notes down for you. Some of our clients have reported an 85% increase in the length of their contact notes, which is really important because they're dictating, they're just talking, they're not remembering things, right? Another handy feature that people like is it does the opposite. It does, let me get this right, text to speech. So you can be driving, you use that? Alex is very excited over there. You can be driving, somebody sends you to go on a visit, or you get assigned an investigation or a new intake and you don't really know what this is about. As you're driving, you just press on it and it will dictate previous contact notes or any information in there for you. So you don't have to be reading. We always encourage safety first while we're driving, and don't break the law, because Harley will come after you.
So it doesn't have Bluetooth capability?
No, it doesn't need Bluetooth capability. Yeah, it does. If you're in a car, so you would just press your contact notes. If you're connected to the car via Bluetooth, it will play via your Bluetooth. Yep.
And you can pick the accent that the person talks to you.
Don't pick South African,
American,
right?
Yeah.
Does it have a Canary slang on it?
We're going to have to get back to you on improving that feature. We're not quite there yet. So let's see. As Holly was saying, you can upload contacts, and so if you're walking into a house where you're doing an investigation and perhaps you see, some unsafe conditions, or you see drug paraphernalia lying around and you want to capture that, there's no need to capture that on your personal phone and have that stored on your personal device. You just open up your contact, take the picture, and then you also have the ability to annotate that picture. So you can, kind of get your little finger, pencil, and circle, the things that you want to really draw attention to, save that, and then that becomes a permanent part of that record. And it's never left MCase, so that information is safe. It's not going to be at risk of getting out into the world. Harley did mention that, if you're doing a safety plan with a family, you're sitting there talking through, what the plan is, get them to agree, everybody's on the same page. The family can sign electronically. They can use their finger, they can sign however they want, they can check the box to say, yes, I acknowledge this. You save that record, and then you're able to share it immediately. So you can share it with a supervisor, you can even share it with your clients, so that they have the exact copy of what they just signed. And it's as simple as pressing a button, typing in an email address. They will get a secure link, so they can decide on the password that they want to use, type it in, they'll get sent a secure link they'll have to type in the password, and then they have that document in a PDF format. And it's immediate as well. If you're online, if you're mooching. Another advantage is, we have addresses for our clients, and we know where to go. So if we pull up a contact that we need to go and attend to, and we have that client's address, we have integrated with Google Maps. If you're on an iPhone, you can also choose to use Apple Maps. I'm an Apple person, I would still go with Google Maps. But you then get turn-by-turn directions. So if you have Google Maps on your phone, it will then give you the turn-by-turn direction. You don't have to go to an external GPS to get to the place that you need to be. So that's all integrated as well. We also have something in MCASE called map overlays. I'm not sure if anybody is familiar with map overlays, but essentially, nerdy term again, but if you can get a GIS file, and usually the government has, in their databases, have GIS files, and so this includes school districts. I'm not sure what the equivalent in Canada is, but in the United States we have counties. Do you have counties? So anything that has, some kind of a border, once you have the map open and you click a little button to say, show me all the school districts or counties, then it will give you those borders. And so you can see, like for placements example, if you're looking for a suitable foster home and you want to keep that child in the same school district, or you don't want to cause too much upheaval in their life, you would click on that, you'll be able to see all of the foster homes in their school district. And that is all I wanted to talk to you about today. So I'm going to open up the floor for any questions. We have plenty of time. Yes, go ahead.
Just in regards to pulling up name of a child, like with the Indian Affairs, we have a database called EMS, and if you put in their treaty number, the kid's profile pops up. Is that yours, or is it only what you put in there?
It's what you put in there. So if you've captured that treaty number against that child's file, when you enter that file, then you won't be able to find this treaty number. But it's really just what's available in the MCASE database. Any other questions? Who's using MCASE Mobile? You just started? Yeah.
I don't want to admit that.
Alex, I'm not going to ask you any questions. You can raise your hand higher. I'm not going to put you on the spot.
Yeah, see, we were using it, and then we were told by you guys not to use it because it wasn't working properly.
Yeah.
So this is the first time I've actually heard that it's back up and using it.
It's back up. So Redmayne has invested a lot of money because, as we're not social workers, but we respect you and we listen to you, and our app is built by you guys, by the feedback that you give us. And as MCASE grew, we realized that there was a need for mobility. Your work is done out in the field. Essentially, you can't help children if you have children and families. And so, but what we realize is that, when you're bringing down a lot of files to your mobile device, it's slow, right? That's just going to, when you're bringing down thousands of records, it's going to be slow. That's natural. And so we did experience some bumps in the road. There was some learning curves that we had. And so we've invested a lot of time, a lot of money in overcoming those bumps. And so now we have something called subscription. And that's where you have the option of only bring the files down that you're interested in. So if you only have 10 cases in your caseload, you would then subscribe to those 10 cases. It would bring all of the information for those cases down to your device. And then if you're out on the road and you need to look up other information, you do have the ability to subscribe to that on the go as well, but you're not bringing down everybody else's caseloads essentially. The other thing that we did is all the icons that you have available on the desktop, some of those things you never use. You have no need to use on the mobile. Whatever it is, maybe an HR module or something unrelated to your actual your work. We've introduced the ability to exclude those. Don't bring those down to mobile. We've introduced the ability to not bring dashboards down. So if you're a dashboard person and that's how you're managing your day-to-day, then absolutely bring it down. But if it doesn't serve any purpose, we're not bringing it down. So we're really making the amount of data that you're bringing down to the mobile device really skinny, so that it can be a lot faster and a lot more efficient.
So how you pick up this app, is it still through Chrome or is it?
Yes, it is. Yeah, so it's it's what's called a progressive web app. And so essentially, if you're on a Windows device, you'll use Chrome, you'll use Safari, like whatever your internet browser is on your mobile device, you will get given a URL that you can use, and then you can save that icon as a home screen app, and then it will just look like a regular app that you would download from the app stores.
Yeah, because I just tried to download it on Android and I couldn't even find it on there.
Yeah, so we do have what's called a native app, and that's where you would get it from the Android store, the Apple store. But that's really, it depends on your agency, whether you want that or not. It works exactly the same. It's the exact same app that we have, just through URL. So at least if you're on a different device, you still have the ability to just type in that URL without downloading an app. Yeah. Any other questions? Yes.
If I follow all of, like say I follow 10 cases, and then every time I log onto the mobile, are they going to be there, or do I have to re-follow them every single time?
No, so they will be there. So the process that you follow is, using that word a lot, but the process that you would go through is you would say, okay, I have my caseload is 10 right now, and so you would follow them. You could follow them on the website, or you can follow them on a mobile device. And then you would do what's called the initial sync or a long sync. And that's where the sync takes a little bit longer, because it's really bringing down everything from scratch. Once it's on your mobile device, it's there. And you don't have to go through that. I don't know if anybody remembers the long press on that little sync button. You don't have to do that. So what the system does there's nobody. I think it's every 2 minutes.
Yeah,
every minute or 2 minutes, we poll the server, and so any information, any updates that have been made either on the mobile device or on the web, it's syncing that automatically in the background, and so you're getting that data. You don't have to bring the stuff down again. It's just the initial sync, and then as you go along, your caseload is growing, and so you're just automatically following these things. And you can unfollow as well. So if there's a case that's not of particular interest to you at this point in time, you can unfollow it if you want to. So, any other questions? Right, let's all get using mobile. And thank you so much for your time today.